Should a journalist or media outlet be found to be liable for defamation, the European Court has set a number of parameters to the sanctions that may be imposed. One reason why defamation suits, whether criminal or civil, are so feared is the impact of the penalties or awards often made against the media in such cases. Reference is often made to the chilling effect of heavy penalties or large defamation awards. As that phrase makes clear, the concern is not only for the journalist involved in any particular case, but also the deterrent that defamation law can pose to vigorous investigative journalism. As a rule, any sanction imposed must be proportionate. If the publication of a correction is all that is required, this might suffice. If a monetary award is made, it should be against real loss that can be proven. Any compensation for moral damage should be strictly proportionate. In the context of criminal defamation cases, the European Court of Human Rights has commented several times on the penalties imposed. It has been particularly critical of the sanction of imprisonment. It has, in fact, never upheld it as being a proportionate response. In one case, Compagna and Mazzara versus Romania, it held as follows. The circumstances of the instant case, a classic case of defamation of an individual in the context of a debate on a matter of legitimate public interest, present no justification whatsoever for the imposition of a prison sentence. Such a sanction, by its very nature, will inevitably have a chilling effect, and the fact that the applicants did not serve their prison sentence does not alter that conclusion, seeing that the individual pardons they received are measures subject to the discretionary power of the President of Romania. In this case, the court was also highly critical of an order imposed on the journalists as part of the sentence for their conviction, prohibiting them from working as journalists for a year. The court said, "Prior restraints of the activities of journalists call for the most careful scrutiny on its part and are justified only in exceptional circumstances. The court considers that it was particularly severe and could not in any circumstance have been justified by the mere risk of the applicants reoffending. The court considers that by prohibiting the applicants from working as journalists as a preventative measure of general scope, albeit subject to a time limit, the domestic courts contravened the principle that the press must be able to perform the role of a public watchdog in a democratic society." In civil defamation cases, the principal cause of the chilling effect is large monetary awards against the media in favor of defamation claimants. In a civil suit, the purpose of the award is not to punish the defendant, the defamer, but to compensate the plaintiff, the person who was defamed, for any loss or damage caused by the defamation. It follows that the claimant should be able to prove that there was actual loss or damage as part of their suit. If this cannot be demonstrated, then it is unclear why there should be any monetary award. The problem often comes in the area of non-pecuniary damages. This refers to monetary awards made to compensate losses that cannot be accurately calculated in monetary terms, such as loss of reputation. Courts should take into account not only the damage to reputation, but also the potential impact of a large monetary award on the defendant, and also more broadly on freedom of expression and the media in society. The European Court has been critical of large non-pecuniary monetary awards. The landmark case was that of Miloslavski, who wrote a defamatory pamphlet and was confronted with damages of £1.5 million awarded by a British jury. The court found the award grossly disproportionate and that his right to freedom of expression had thereby been violated, even though the fact that he had committed defamation was not in dispute. In the case of Steele and Morris versus the United Kingdom, known as the McLibel case because it concerned a defamation case brought by the fast food chain McDonald's, the court concluded that the size of the award of damages had to take into account the resources available to the defendants. Although the sum awarded by the British courts was not very large by contemporary standards, it was, the court held, very substantial when compared to the modest incomes and resources of the applicants. It should also be noted that the European Court itself very rarely awards non-pecuniary damages. It normally concludes that the finding that a right has been violated is sufficient, a principle that domestic courts might be advised to follow where possible.